Hello student. Today's topic is delta modulation. First of all, what is delta modulation? Basically, delta modulation, which is denoted by DM, it is uses a single beat differential pulse code modulation code to achieve the digital transmission of analog signals. Okay. So how this delta modulation can be done? First of all, here we compare between the two sample value. So we can say that the present sample value is compared with the previous sample value. And when we compare these two values, there may be two results. Number one, if the value of the current sample is smaller than the value of the previous sample, a logic 0 is transmitted. Again, I repeat, if the value of the current sample is smaller than the value of the previous sample, a logic 0 is transmitted. Number two, if the value of the current sample is larger than the value of the previous sample, a logic 1 is transmitted. Okay. Now, this the difference between the actual input signal and the approximation signal is quantized into two representation level. What are this? One is plus delta and another one is minus delta, that is two positive and negative difference respectively. Now for each sample only one bit can be transmitted. So here you can see that the original waveform after the sampled value and the delta modulated bits, the 11110000, this is the final result after the delta modulation. Now how the delta modulation can be different from PCM and PAM. So first of all, with PCM, conventional PCM, each PCM code is a binary representation of both the sign and the magnitude of a particular sample of analog information. So we can say that in case of PCM system, multiple bit codes are needed to represent many values of a single sample value. But in case of delta modulation, the difference between the successive samples is encoded using a single bit and transmitted this single bit. So in case of PCM, we use multiple bits, but in case of DM, we use single bit. Now, what is the difference between PAM and DM? In case of PAM, pulse amplitude modulation transmission, it is equivalent to discrete analog transmission and has amplitude variations which are prone to noise and interference, whereas the delta modulation is a digital transmission of analog signal and is more immune to noise and interference. So PAM is equivalent to discrete analog transmission, whereas delta modulation is digital transmission of analog signal, and DM is more immune to noise and interference than PAM. So these are the difference between delta modulation and PCM and PM. Now, one thing you must remember that in case of delta modulation, the transmission bandwidth should be greater than or equal to the multiplication of number of bits per sample and the maximum frequency of the input signal. So we can say that in DM there is only one bit used per sample. So we can say that the transmission bandwidth should be at least equal to the maximum frequency of the input signal. Okay. And one thing you must remember that for voice signals, delta modulation system operating at 4 kbps data rate, which is equivalent to a standard PCM system operating with a sample rate of 8 kilohertz and 5 bits per sample, that means at 40 kbps data rate. A clear cut advantage of using the delta modulation over PCM we can see from the values or from the bit rate or data rate. Now the next one, that is the linear delta modulation, sorry, encoder and decoder. So here we can see the block diagram or circuit diagram of a linear delta modulation encoder. Basically the operation is like that. First of all, we can see here the input signal is analog. This is passed through a sample and hold circuit where we can get the PAM signal. It passed through a comparator circuit, and the other input of the comparator is coming from the D2A converter, digital to analog converter, which is controlled by a up down counter. And these sections of including the D2A, digital to analog converter, and counter, this is called the accumulator. And this is one feedback is coming from the output to the up down counter. So we can say that the analog input signal is first sampled and converted to a PAM signal through the sample and hold circuit. After that, it is then compared with the output of the D2A converter, that is digital to analog converter. It is done in the comparator circuit. The output of the D2A converter is a voltage level equal to the regenerated magnitude of the previous sample, which was earlier stored in the up down counter as a binary number. This up down counter is a part of the accumulator, and the up down counter increments or decrements its count by 1 at each rising or falling edge of the clock, depending on whether the previous sample is larger or smaller than the current sample. Okay, so depending on this, the clock is work, and according to that clock, up down counter is increasing or decreasing by 1. Now the up down counter is clocked at a rate equal to the sample rate and is updated after each comparison. The digital output of the comparator is converted to analog quantized estimate, which is done in the D2A converter, and the sampling time is the time of occurrence at each active edge of the clock. So in this way, the accumulator generates the staircase approximate signal output and is delayed by one sampling period Ts. So we can say that if input is binary 1, it adds delta step to the previous output, which is delayed. If input is binary 0, it subtract delta step to the previous output. When we start the delta modulation definition, we say that after the comparison there is there is two representations can be done, plus delta and minus delta, on the basis of a positive and negative difference respectively. So here we say that if input is binary 1, it adds delta step to the previous output, which is delayed. If input is binary 0, it subtract delta step to the previous output. So this is the linear delta modulation encoder. Now this is the linear delta modulation decoder. Basically the operation is like that. Initially the output of the D2A converter is 0. Here you can see that also use a accumulator, which consists of up down counter, a D2A converter. After that is passed through a low pass filter, and finally we get the analog input signal. So first, initially the output D2A converter is 0. The first sample is taken, converted to a PAM signal and compared with 0, because the first output of D2A converter is 0. Then the output of the accumulator is logic 1 condition, or we can say positive condition. It indicate that the current sample is larger in amplitude than previous sample. Now clock is there is a clock pulse. The up down counter is now incremented. Then the D2A converter now outputs a voltage level equal to the magnitude of the minimum step size. As the logic 1 and 0 are received, the up-down counter is increment or decrement accordingly. If 1, it increment; if 0, it decrement. And then the output of the D2A converter in the delta modulation decoder is identical to the output of the D2A converter in this encoder circuit, and the quantization noise is rejected by passing it through a low pass filter having a bandwidth equal to the original signal bandwidth. So this is the functions of each blocks of a linear delta modulation decoder. And this delta modulation is a special case of differential pulse code modulation, except for the need of additional low pass filter at the output of this delta modulation decoder. Now the next one is the quantization noise in delta modulation. In delta modulation, the step size del and the sampling rate must be properly chosen. Why? The analog signal has a specified maximum frequency and the fastest rate at which it can change. To account for the fastest possible change in the signal, the step size or the sampling frequency, whatever you can say, must be increased. So, assuming that the input signal does not change too rapidly from sample to sample, the staircase approximate remains within plus minus del by 2 of the input signal. And when it increases, the sampling frequency result in the delta modulation waveform that requires a large bandwidth, and increasing the step size increase the quantization noise. So there are two major sources of quantization noise in delta modulation system. What are this? One is slope overload distortions and another one is the granular noise. So first of all is the slope overload distortion. What is this? When the slope of the analog signal is greater than the delta modulator can maintain, it is called slope overload distortions. You can see in this waveform there is the analog input and step slope rapidly change. So after D2A converter, the output you can get in this pattern. This is the output, and this one is a typical example of slope overload distortions. We can say if the signal is rapidly changed, then it is done. So basically the slope overload distortions basically, the slope overload distortions occurs when the input analog signal changes at the faster rate than the D2A converter can maintain, and it is more prevalent in analog signals that have slopes or whose amplitude levels vary rapidly. So here you can see in this waveform how it is changed, and mathematically, basically to avoid the slope overload, the sample frequency should be like this one: fs greater than equal to 2 pi fa by del, whereas we can say fs equal to 1 by ts is the sampling frequency, f is the frequency of the input signal, a is the amplitude, and del is the step size. So we should maintain this formula. And we can say that if slope overload is done, then what should we do to reduce the slope overload distortions? Basically, first of all, an increase in the magnitude of the minimum step size is required, number one. Number two, a large resolution is required to accommodate wide dynamic range of input signal. Number three, an increase in the clock frequency. By these three steps, we can reduce the slope overload distortions in delta modulation. Now, granular noise. What is granular noise? Basically, when the input's analog signal has a relatively constant amplitude, the reconstructed signal has variations that were not present in the original signal. This is called the granular noise. You can see in this waveform the dark line is the original signal, the dot square pulse, this is the delta modulated signal, and the reconstructed signal is the dotted line. So granular noise is more prevalent in analog signals that have gradual slopes and whose amplitude levels vary only by a small amount. It is analogous to quantization noise in conventional PCM, we can say that. And similarly, like the slope overload distortions, there are some steps to reduce the granular noise also. What are these? There are two steps. One is a decrease in the magnitude in the minimum step size is required. Number two, a small resolution is required. Just the reverse of the slope overload, because in case of slope overload, first point was increase in magnitude of the minimum step size, but here we can see that a decrease in the magnitude of the minimum step size. Number two was for slope overload, that was a large resolution is required, but here you can see that a small resolution is required. So this is the two steps we can do to reduce the granular noise. Now, one thing you remember that in delta modulation, the step size is related to the sampling frequency. In order to avoid slope overload distortion, the maximum slope of the staircase approximation must be equal to or greater than the maximum slope of the signal. You should remember this so that we can reduce the problems or the disadvantages of the delta modulation. Now the advantages and disadvantages of the delta modulation. First of all, first one is a simple circuit. Yes, delta modulation needs a simple circuit as compared to the PCM. Number two is the better signal to noise ratio for speech signal. The S0 by N0, that is the signal to noise ratio, performance of delta modulation is better than the PCM by more than 3 dB. Number three is the higher quantization error. Maximum possible error due to quantization is del, that is the step size in delta modulation, and del by 2 uh, in PCM, where del is the step size. Now, next point is the higher bit rate requirement. For same quality of transmission, the bit rate needed for delta modulation is much higher than the PCM system. Next one is a higher bandwidth requirement. Yes, the bandwidth needed by DM is more than PCM. And disadvantage is last one, we can say that the distortion and noise. Delta modulation suffers from slope overload distortion, granular noise, which requires a compromise in selecting of step size. So we can say this is the disadvantage of delta modulation. Now, this is a mathematical model of delta modulation. So, basically the incoming delta modulated data sequence of positive and negative pulse is passed through a accumulator in a similar manner as used in the delta modulated transmitter, and the output is passed through a low pass filter to remove the quantization noise. Here you can see the transmitter section. This is the transmitter section, and this one is the receiver section, transmitter and receiver section of delta modulation. Okay. Next one, so next one is the delta sigma modulation. So first of all, what is delta sigma modulation? Basically, in delta sigma modulation, you can see the symbol of this delta sigma modulation. This is the symbol. Okay, so in this scheme, the input to the delta modulator is actually the difference between the integral of the information signal and the integrated output pulses. So what we can say that the low frequency components of the input signals are boosted and low frequency components are attenuated with the use of integrator, And in this way, the correlation between the adjacent samples of delta modulation can be increased. So by increasing this, this in turns reduces the variations of error signals in the input of the quantizer, and the input signal, which is a continuous time analog signal, is first passed through a integrator before it is applied to the delta modulator. And the delta sigma modulator is a simple low pass filter. We can say it's a simple low pass filter. And um, what are the advantage of delta sigma modulation? So in conventional delta modulation, the quantizer input can be considered as an approximation to the derivative of the input analog signal. The quantization noise result in accumulated error in the demodulated signals, whereas in delta sigma modulation, the input signal is passed through an integrator, or we can say a low pass filter, and then applied to the conventional delta modulator. So the use of the integrator at the modulator amplify the low frequency component of the input signal, thereby it reduce the quantization noise. And one thing you must remember, that delta sigma modulation is able to achieve improved resolution, but typical sampling rates are on the order of 64 times the Nyquist rate. So more number of bits are needed to transmit it as compared to required in a PCM system. So this is delta sigma modulation. Similar to delta modulation, just extra point is added here, integrator or low pass filter. Next one is the adaptive delta modulation. Basically, adaptive delta modulation is a delta modulation system where the step size is automatically varied depending on the amplitude characteristic of the analog input signal. So you can see the waveforms and the circuits block diagram of the adaptive delta modulation. Basically, if input signal is varying first, the step size is increased, and if the input signal is varying slowly, the step size is reduced. So in adaptive delta modulation, there is a controlling sections to control the step size accordingly, and this amount to discrete changes in the value of step size in accordance with the changes in the input signal levels. Of course, the receiver must be able to adapt the step size in exactly the same manners as the transmitter, we can say. And um, in this process, we can reduce the slope overload distortions, and we can reduce the granular noise also. So how we can reduce this? First of all, in ADM, the that is adaptive delta modulation, the step size automatically increased by 1.5 after a predetermined number of consecutive ones or zero, and after the next samples, if the output level of D2A converter is still below the sample level, the next step size increases even further until the output of D2A converter is closer to that of the current sample value of the analog signal. So when an alternative sequence of 1 and 0s occur, the D2A converter automatically revert to its minimum step size. In this way we can remove the granular noise, as well as we can remove the slope overload noise also. uh, by slope overload uh, uh, so slope overload distortions can be also reduced, but one thing remember, the quantization error increase when we try to reduce the slope overload distortions. Now the advantages of ADM. So there are five advantages. First of all, reduction in slope overload distortions. Number two, reductions in granular noise. Number three, wide dynamic range because of variable step size. Number four, better utilizations of bandwidth as compared to that of in DM. And number five, better SNR than that of the linear DM. So these are the advantages of the ADM, but also there is disadvantage, that is it is quite complex than DM. So this is the disadvantage, and all these points are the advantages of ADM. Now the last one is the CVSDM, that is the continuous variable slope delta modulation. Continuous variable slope delta modulation is a delta modulation technique with continuous variable step size. So it may be viewed as a special case of adaptive delta modulation. So this system adjusts its step size according to the input signal characteristic. And one thing you must remember, that it encodes at 1 bit per sample, so that the information signal sampled at 8 kilohertz is encoded at 8 kbps. So this is the block diagram of CVSDM, that is the continuous variable slope delta modulation. So here you can see that there is a differential amplifier, and then sample and quantizer. This the output of this pass through a variable gain amplifier whose output is fed to the integrator, and in the differential amplifier another input is coming from this integrator. And there is also a RC filter circuit which is fit to a square law device, and the output of this square law device is passed through a variable gain amplifier. So this is the basic block diagram of a continuous variable slope delta modulation circuit. Now how it is work? So first of all, you can see that the step size is varied by controlling the gain of the amplifiers and the integrator circuit. Okay, so and the continuous varying variable gain amplifier has a low gain when the gain control voltage is zero, and the gain control circuit consists an RC filter circuit and a square law device. At just below of this block diagram, there is a square law device and RC filter circuit. You can see that which is control, which can control the gain control, which is called the gain control circuit. And in case of slope overload conditions, when the input signal is varying very fast, then this slope overload condition is occurred. The output of sampler and quantizer will be a sequence of all positive and negative pulses, and the integrator provides a large control voltage, and the squealer device ensure that the amplifier gain is always increased irrespective of positive or negative pulses. So as a result, the step size is increased, and in this way we can reduce the slope overload. Okay, so how we can reduce the slope overload? So first of all, the output of the sample and the quantizer will be a sequence of all positive and negative pulses, and after that the integrator now provides a large control voltage, and after that the square law device ensure that the amplifier gain is always increased of positive or negative pulses, and as a result the step size increase, and therefore the slope overload distortion can be reduced. Now for granular noise, so when the input signal is fairly constant or slowly varying, then the granular noise is occurred. So the output of the sampler and quantizer will be a sequence of alternating polarity pulses, and then these pulses are integrated by a low pass linear RC filter circuit, and whose average output is approximate zero voltage, we can say. And as a result the step size is decreased, and therefore the granular noise is increased. So in this way the operation is done in continuous variable slope delta modulation. And similarly, one thing you must remember, that in CVSDM is quite robust under high bit error rate conditions. Usually bit rate achieved are 9.6 kbps to 128 kbps, and 12 kbps CVSDM is used for digitally encrypted two-way radio systems, and 16 kbps CVSDM is used for military digital telephones to provide voice recognitions audio systems, and 64 kbps CVSDM is one of the options used to encode voice signals in Bluetooth devices. So these are the applications of uh, continuous variable slope delta modulation. Okay. So today we discuss about delta modulations, its disadvantages, how we can reduce these disadvantages or the problems. So there is a concept of adaptive delta modulation, after that delta sigma modulations, and last adaptive delta modulation, and lastly the continuous variable slope delta modulation. Thank you.